Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our tour. Again, my name is Bill. I'm your captain this evening. My daytime job, I'm a high school principal on the other side of the lake at Williams Bay High School. And my buddy here, Pete, is your bartender. He will take care of you. So if you want a really good drink, just raise your hand and Pete will come back and help you take your order. We got some drinkers back there. That's a good thing. Now, if anyone during the tour you have any questions, just let us know. First thing to point out is the beach over there. That is Geneva Beach. That is a public beach. You do have to pay to use it right now. It's free because it's closed for the season, basically. On a nice hot summer day, you'll see a lot of people out there. It costs $7 for adults and $4 for children. They sold that parkland and that library over there. That was all donated to the city by Mrs. George Sturgis. She purchased the property from the widow of a Union soldier in 1894. And then shortly after, donated to the city with two stipulations. Stipulation one is they had to remain public parkland open to the public, and two, it had to remain a library. There was a small cottage that was on the property. It served as a public library until the 1950s. In the 1950s, they built a new library. It was pretty much a Frank Lloyd Wright structure, which was designed by a student of his named James Dresser. That library opened up in the early 1950s. Now we're talking about a period of time when Geneva Lake was known as Newport of the West. You've probably heard of Newport, Rhode Island. Many of the industrialists and rich people from New York City went up to Newport, Rhode Island and built their large cottages and mansions to enjoy during the summer months. Many people from that small period of town called Chicago came up here and built their summer mansions and lake homes. About a period of time from the 1870s to the 1920s. Now you see this nice tan color home up here. That was built recently, about 10 years ago, but that was built on the side of the Sheldon Sturgis estate, which was the first large summer home built on the lake, which was built in 1870. You see the gray home to the left, that was their called the annex. That's where their servants and their overflow guests would have stayed. Today it's a private residence. It was on the market 2 weeks ago for about $3 million. Now you see all those homes over there that are part of the Geneva Manor Estates. They occupy the 37-acre estate that was owned by Levi Z. Leiter called Linden Lodge. Linden Lodge had 30 rooms in it, including 19 fireplaces. Mr. Leiter was co-founder of the Field Leiter Company, better known today as Marshall Fields. What's interesting about this association, too, is by rule, all the homes have to be designed differently. So all the homes in that association have a different look, a different design. Now you probably quickly noticed that all the piers are painted white. There's really three reasons you paint your pier white. One, white paint is cheaper. Two, on a hot summer day it doesn't absorb the heat as much. And three, when the nice lovely birds come and visit, it hides bird droppings a lot better than darker paints. But you see behind Pier 20 there, They painted their pier a nice, lovely tan color. We like to affectionately say they did not succumb to peer pressure. My one good joke. It's not an original joke, though. Now, it's getting a little later evening. You probably don't see many people, but there is a path that goes around the entire perimeter of the lake. So on a nice warm day, a lot of times you'll see people walking along the shoreline. By law, each of the homeowners has to maintain a shore path in front of their property. Back in the 60s, one of the homeowners on the other side of the lake erected 2 big gates at each end of their property to prevent people from walking on the shore path in front of the property. Quickly it made its way into court in public one, and so now by law you have to maintain that shore path. Now you see that large Victorian boathouse over there. That was the boathouse for the estate called Snug Harbor. Snug Harbor was built in 1881 for Mr. and Mrs. George Sturgis to donate the library property. So they had a large French chateau home that sat over here. It had 15-foot ceilings on each floor. It was a very large home. They had 9 children. That home was dominated by a 5-story tower on the shore side of the home. Later, that home was owned by John Borden, who was a famous Arctic explorer. Today, it's owned by the Evangelical Churches of America and operated as Covenant Harbor Bible Camp. So during the summer days, you'll see lots of children and school buses sitting there. It's also a business retreat. They got ropes courses and a zip line in there for businesses to use. Now, beginning on Pier 32, you see those 3 homes. That was a estate called the Butternuts, named after a small grove of butternut trees that grew on the property. The large estate was built right where those 3 homes were. It was the main house. That home was built in 1874 from Nathaniel Kellogg Fairbanks, president of the N.K. Fairbanks Company, which is Chicago's leading manufacturer of lard oil refined products. Any of you know what you make with refined lard oil? Refined lard oil, you make soap. Soap. He had a line of soap called the Fairy Soap. It was very big over in England. Later, that company was bought by Procter & Gamble, Ivory Soap. Now, Mr. Fairbanks had a large home he had built there. Shortly after he built it, was struck by lightning in the roof and began to burn. And we tell you this story because this is what they did when that home caught on fire on the lake. He, the firemen, family, and friends saved as many of the interior furnishings as they could. So they saved part of the stairwell, part of the mantle, and the architect plans. Because up here the firefighting was not good in the 1880s, 1890s, 1900s. And then that following Monday they began to rebuild the mansion right where it was. So they built it really quick. Now behind Pier 37, Mr. Fairbanks had traveled to England and fallen in love with the game of golf. He visited St. Andrews. And he brought it back and introduced it to his friends by building a 5-hole golf course right there behind Pier 37. Later, he and his friends go across the lake to start a country club that we'll show you later. Now you see this home over here, it's for sale. Probably about $3 million that you could buy it for. You see that pier there? Anybody notice anything interesting about that pier? Something you don't normally see on a pier? Might pick out what's different about that pier over there with the umbrella on it. It's got a mailbox. This is one of the only lakes where they still deliver mail on a daily basis by boat. The Walworth delivers mail every morning. The mail jumpers will jump off the boat with the mail in their teeth, run over to the mailbox, pull out the mail, throw the mail in, put the mail in their teeth, and jump back on the boat. The boat never stops moving. So they have to be in pretty good shape. Now some of the homeowners like to play tricks on them by taping the mailbox shut or putting some goofy stuff on the pier to see how good they are. Now this past year, one of the nicest girls was trying out. They were filming it for the news. While she crashed to the side of the boat head first. Well, they played it over and over on the nightly news in slow motion so all her family and friends could see it. Poor girl. Now we've asked you to use your imagination so far, but this home with the red roof, that is an original estate to the golden era of Geneva Lake, known as Blacktop. It was built in 1881 for John T. Lester, who was a prominent member of the Chicago Board of Trade. Now what's worth noting about this home is 2 things. one, you see it's sort of built on an angle. It's got a large veranda and lots of windows. That's to take advantage of the summer breeze that's coming off the lake, because they did not have air conditioning in that period of time. So they need to build those homes with lots of windows and those angles to take advantage of the lake breezes. Also worth noting, that home is considered small. That would have been a small summer cottage on this lake back in that time. Now, many of you have heard of the Wrigley's. The Wrigley's own the Wrigley Chewing Gum Company, the Chicago Cubs, Wrigley Field, the Wrigley Building in downtown Chicago.